Blog Talk Radio.
Live from the nation's capital, it's Quintessential Listening, Poetry, with host Dr. Michael Anthony Ingram.
This is Michael Anthony Ingram with Quintessential Listening Poetry. I'm here tonight with Todd Cirillo. Todd, are you there?
Yes, sir. Hey, Mr. Michael, how you doing?
I'm quite well, and yourself?
Oh, I'm fantastic.
Well, great. I'd like to thank you for taking this ride with me. A quick question: what is poetry? What is poetry?
What is poetry? Well, Perhaps poetry is what happens if you fail at all the other classical art forms, maybe. And then you just, yeah.
Now that is true, but can you narrow it down?
Yeah, I think what poems should be, or what I like in poetry, is really being concise, and so it's telling a story. So I really like, and I believe in, if you really want to be accessible, a lot of people always say, oh, poetry is so accessible. I believe poetry is available. It's more available right now, but I don't necessarily think people write accessible poems. By that, I mean telling a story, eliciting really the sharpest emotions with an economy of language, using the fewest words as possible, being really concise, and it's almost like a poem should be a little cherry bomb that just goes off in your hands, you know?
Wow. A cherry bomb that goes off in your hands.
Yeah, and that can either cause a lot of pain or a lot of pleasure, depending on which side of the masochistic, scale you're on. I think so.
Very much so. I agree with that. But then why do you think that poetry is important in general? Why is it important today? If it's so available, why is it so important?
Michael, I don't really think it is. I don't really think poetry is that important these days. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I believe it's important and meaningful to the writer. And then maybe 50 people, maybe 200 people, maybe even 1,000 people. But think about, when was the last time you heard somebody say, man, I cannot wait for that new poetry book to come out?
Well, that's true.
Ain't nobody waiting in line for it. Yeah, nobody waiting in line for that. And so as far as it being important, I think really, to me, the question is, important for who? To me, poetry, look, you ain't going to stop a war from it. It's not, you're not going to change much. And then it has to break down to the quintessential interpersonal communication. That's all it is. To me, it's nothing more than trying to make a connection between myself and you right now, or when I perform, then with people in the audience, and they may take that with them, and it may grow a little bit from there. But really, I think poetry is an art form, and it is an art form. It is a craft, and I believe in that. And I think by it being so available, poets have killed poetry by, they're just putting anything out there because you can, and which is good. I believe in that, but it's also, you got to remember, it was once at the top of the mountain. It was next to kings and next to
Yes.
And now you have to add like a visual aspect to it, or again, if you look at people's bios, most of them say filmmaker, musician, photographer, and then the very last they tack on, and poet. So all of a sudden,
it's true.
like yeah. It doesn't mean that it can't have any meaning. I just, that it just might not be as important as it once was.
Well, does that make you sad that it's not important as it once was, or it just is what it is?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because it makes those moments when people really connect with my stuff that much more meaningful. Example. I used to help run a reading series that was in a bar, magnificent bar, really a true dive bar from the 1940s down here in New Orleans, and it was every week. And I performed one night when I had one of my latest books come out, and the bartender, about 6'3", Bob, old Bob, he had to be in his 60s, maybe late 60s. And as I was walking out, and each poet gets 2 free drinks, and I said, Mr. Bob, I'll take, whatever vodka spray, whatever it was. And he said, hey, every week I listen to this shit. Yours the only one that I actually listen to. And that, to me, that's it. Because, again, it gets it right back down to the connection.
Wow. I like that. Well, a question for you. When did you first start writing, and what made you feel the need to express yourself in this way?
Exact same reason. It's still, that's a very funny question because it's the exact same. So when I was 15, breakup, magnificent woman. And all I knew to do was take out this dumb notebook that had the cover was yellow, and I wrote like about a paragraph of some words. No idea what they were. All I knew was that I had to get them out. And it's essentially very much the same way now. I still have that notebook, actually. I have every single notebook I've ever written. So, yeah, I mean, it's just a giant autobiography for no one to read, once I mysteriously go into the ether. But, yeah, that's why. It just, that moment moved me so much. And I probably ultimately write just because, the lords of karma just want to laugh, and so they made me a poet. So.
All right. Well, what I'd like you to do at this point is to share one of your works.
Oh, all right. Everybody's a critic. I had been drinking Moscow Mules for half the day, trying to work on poems, attempting to get the words right, elicit the correct emotion, break the perfect hearts. I drank, I wrote. I drank, I wrote. At 6:30 p.m., my girlfriend joined me. When she arrived, I got up to go to the bathroom, grabbed my poems, and said, I'll take these with me so no one steals them. She quickly responded, I think there's enough toilet paper in there. Yes, thank you.
What are some of the predominant themes of your work?
I think there's broken hearts and there's booze, and then I think ultimately it's just a trying to reach for some type of connection. Yeah.
All right.
The themes would be whatever happens in every day, right? Because I do believe that poets see things everybody sees the exact same picture, except poets may see just one small detail of it, and then they have the ability to transform that one small detail into the entire picture. So, Yeah.
Wow. Well, share another piece of your work.
Oh, all right. Mile High Club. The stewardess gave me her number as the plane was taking off. I smiled and thought, if this plane goes down, our first date would be quick, but definitely a sure thing. Mm-hmm.
I like that.
That was a flight to Atlanta.
Was it really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I really like that.
Yeah.
I really like that. Now,
Yeah.
how does a poem begin for you? Is it an idea, a form, or an image, or something else?
Yeah. No, you're the first one to ever present it and include an image. Poems for me always begin as an image, and interesting enough, at least to me, as a Polaroid. And so I always see it as a Polaroid, and which is slightly faded, meaning that I'm looking at something that everybody else can see, and I'm then writing about it, not exactly as it was, but a little off color. Yeah, always as a Polaroid. It's crazy.
All right. Wow. Mm-hmm. Now, poets hail from all over the world. Where do you hail from?
Well, I would say that one of the greatest things I ever seen was it was behind the bar at the Apple Barrel, and there was a beautiful little pirate sign that said, "Though my body was born thousands of miles away, my soul was born in New Orleans." And so that's about it. Yeah, that's about it for me.
Would you share that one more time? I mean, that was extremely profound. One more time for me, please.
Oh, all right. It said, though my soul was born 1,000 miles. No, shit. See, now I fucked it up. Sorry about that. It was so profound that, much like coming down from the mountaintop, I dropped one of the tablets. Though my body was born 1,000 miles away, my soul was born in New Orleans. Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah.
Please share another piece of your work.
All right. Todd the Optimist. Swimming alone in my pool on this 101 in the shade September day in the deep south. A slow breeze off the Mississippi, barely moving leaves. The music of the cicadas rising and falling in the trees above me. I am completely relaxed, satisfied, thinking about all of the bad decisions I've yet to make. Yes.
All great writers have great writing influences. Who are some of yours, and what makes them great in your eyes?
Yeah, I think that the ones, that got me kick-started, obviously, I started with Edgar Allan Poe with the first paragraph of The Telltale Heart. I'm really big on paragraphs, mostly in literature and fiction. So the first paragraph of The Telltale Heart, because it had movement. Other than that, the very last page of Kerouac's On the Road. That one, Hunter S. Thompson's paragraph about the wave. You can go anywhere and look west. With the right kind of eyes, you can see the high water mark, that place where the wave finally broke and rolled back. So, anything that had a lot of movement to the words. Now, the people that inspire me now are, and that are influential to me now are really my contemporaries. So,
all right.
Poets and writers like Wolfgang Carstens, who he runs Epic Rites Press, which is probably the greatest small press that's operating today out of Canada. Bill Gaynor, Julie Verlin, Matt Amott, there's William Taylor Jr. out of San Francisco. Really, contemporary people that I can consider my friends that I can sit down with, and we can have an evening, of drinks, and inevitably really good poems come out of it. And that's really where I go for a lot of my influence and inspiration.
All right.
Harry Floyd. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was wondering whether you belong to any type of literary group. I know you're friends. Or any other group that you belong to?
Like a group, like what kind of group?
A group that gets together and just writes poetry. I know you have your friends.
Not like well, my friends are incredible poets, and so
yes.
So, but not like a writing group. Like, every Sunday we go and we sit at Denny's and we go over our work. I don't really believe in those. I don't believe in
really?
workshops. Oh yeah, no. I think they're all the only thing good about workshops and things like that are the person who's creating the workshop, because they've just conned everyone out of their money, and I think that's very smart. I wish I could do that, but I don't.
Now,
but
that would make you very popular in
together,
some circles. That would make you very popular in some circles to say that.
Well, sure, yeah, because I don't have enough money to sit in there and for something like that, But what I mean is that if people really believe in your writing, then they're going to sit down over a beer, or they're going to sit down, somewhere with you, and they're going to say, "I love this. Here's what can be changed." They're actually going to help because they love the art form. And so I think that the writing groups, they're really good for some people, and really, it's not I don't want to disparage that part of it, because people can get something out of them. I'm just saying,
right.
Like there's something impure about that. Some writer said you can't create a writer, and I tend to believe that in a way.
So where does a writer come from? If you can't create one, where does it? Is it intrinsic? It just happens?
Yeah, like I said, maybe it's just the lords of karma having fun with, getting a new play toy, and then saying, okay, I'm going to put Todd Cirillo down here, and of all the amazing things that we could create him to be, oh yeah, give him poet, and then so, all right, but I do think that a writer is has some kind of intrinsic talent. That doesn't mean that it doesn't need to be, crafted and molded. It does,
right?
And I believe a good writer will listen to other good writers to say, okay, I need to learn to do this. Like writing the short poems. Short poems are the hardest one to write, but I had to learn from my influences and from people who actually, cared about me, and again, sat down for nothing to challenge me and help me learn to craft that. And I appreciate that all the time.
Wow. Well, let's take a brief break, and we'll be right back with Todd Cirillo. All right, we are back. My name is Michael Anthony Ingram. I'm here with Todd Cirillo. Todd, I'd like to know more about being a pirate. You're a publisher, a poet, and a pirate. Tell me about being a pirate.
Yeah. Well, I got a gold tooth, and that's good. That's a good start. And in these days, because I ain't got a ship, it's more of a
State of mind?
Philosophical sort of being, you know, like
Okay.
it's what we can identify with, you know, and so being a pirate, like for instance, the old term was freebooter, meaning that you an individual, you know, lived under no flag, so they essentially had no, you know, home port, because they would switch between, you know, whichever flag gave them letters or mark. So you can go, you know, from this port to that one, or in my case, you can go from, like, you know, California, Colorado to, you know, New Orleans to wherever it may be. And I think that pirates have a beautiful fucked up swagger about them, you know? And so
Yes.
and they sing great songs, and I like that.
Yes, they do. Pirate songs are really top notch. I really like pirate songs. You know, they say they say that to
you're
see
a good
the world,
because you're full of shit. Yeah. Good. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, well that is true too. They say, speaking of you being a pirate, they say that to see the world with complete honesty, one should look to comedians, artists, poets, and potentially pirates. What do you think emerges naturally from your work? What emerges from you in terms of your work?
Between those three choices, the comedians, the poets, and the what was the middle one?
Artists. To see the world honestly, what emerges from you, from your work?
Oh God, I think that I definitely think comedians, because I enjoy that comedians almost have free reign with anything. Nothing is off limits.
Okay.
You know, if they present the human condition well, nothing is off limits. And so, you know, you can't really be offended. You can't, you know, nor are they afraid to sort of put themselves in that position. Now, the artists, I think, are beautiful because I'm thinking of, you know, very vibrant paintings or photographs. And so they get to present the image. And then the poets, I think, get to present just the pain and pleasure of it all. Yeah. So.
Well, speaking of painting,
yeah, I'll take all.
Speaking of pain and pleasure, recite another piece of your work.
Oh, all right. The most difficult move. Two hands trying to find each other for the first time. That's it. It's a short one. Yeah.
That's a very short one. Share that one again.
Oh,
please.
yeah.
Please share one more time.
All right. for our
I want to soak that one in. I want to soak it in.
The most difficult move. Two hands trying to find each other for the first time.
I got it.
Oh, all right.
It's like an epiphany. I got it. You're right.
Yeah.
Two hands finding each other for the first time.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the most simple thing, but it's the hardest thing to do. I mean, really think about, even if you have to go back to your 14, 15-year-old self.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just that movement. Lord.
Well,
I still have a hard time with that.
Yeah, so do I. We have a caller. Todd. I want to bring this person in. All right?
All right.
Okay. The area code is 757, and the first three numbers are 376. Hold on one moment. You're on the air.
Hello.
Good evening. You're on the air.
Oh, well, thank you, Michael. This is Ariana Grande, and I want to say hello to one of my favorite pirates, Todd Cirillo, better known as John Patrick Robbins, by the way. I also have many pen names.
Todd, it's John Patrick.
Hey, man.
Hey, brother.
Thank you for calling in. I appreciate that.
as Todd knows, I'm a big fan, and I dig your show, Michael.
Yeah,
well, that's a great name. I mean, As you can tell, I'm already into the cocktails.
I appreciate you, man.
I have a lovely question. I gotta ask you.
Yes.
Yes, please. You know, I've always been a big fan of your work. So I gotta ask, you know, when it comes to, you're great at the economy of words. So did you kind of have that voice, or how long did it take you to get that style you have, man? Because it's one of a kind, and I'm a big fan. Seriously.
Yeah, that's a great question. No, I used to write very, very long poems, like I believe a lot of people do when they're first starting out, because they think the more words, the better. It's got to be, but it's actually not. And so it actually took me about probably 6 months of really focusing on what's the story I want to tell, and how can I tell it in the fewest words, but make it to be that little cherry bomb. Really make it to be the most explosive, 9 words or 12 words, whatever I can do, you know. And like Hansan and Basho and all the really, really old, haiku and stuff. Now that's all amazing, and anyone should really try to get into that when they're going to write the short poem. But yeah, the short poems are, that's really most of the time where it's at. But yeah, it took work, and it took practice, and again, like I said, it took. I'll just put in the word, love from my friends, and to where I could learn to craft the short poem to what it is.
All right, man. You definitely have that style. And just one more question: is there any room on your Sexy Pirate ship? Because I know I want to be on there. Because that's just going to be where I'm going to be. I mean, I'm just.
Yeah, man. Hey. I told you, anytime, Mardi Gras, at Bakashi Festival, I put on, man. Yeah, there's always one. You just have to learn to roll very, very quickly.
And there you go. I will be, and Michael, I love you, even though you don't return my calls, but my heart will go on, like Celine Dion. And thank you very much for having me on. You probably would have blocked the call if you knew who it was, so that's okay.
Well, again, I mean, Ariana Grande has the deepest voice I've ever heard.
I know. All right, guys. Todd, you're great, man. You know that. So keep kicking ass, brother.
Appreciate you.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Man.
Thank you for calling in, my friend. All right. Todd, please share another piece of your work.
All right. Moon rocks and magic. And there we were, floating, relaxing in the pool, warm water under a southern summer sky, with clouds rolling in from the tropics at 10 to midnight, telling each other the kind of stories we tell when getting to know someone, sharing parts of ourselves that may or may not be completely accurate but sound impressive. I point out the moon and talk of moon rocks and the first female NASA scientist. We smoke weed and listen to that sound water makes when you slowly push your hand through it, creating tiny waves and ripples. This goes on for hours. When the moon makes its way home for the evening, she does too, but says it was magic. And maybe it was, or just one in a million moments when two people get as close to love as possible without being in love at all. Moon poem, that's it, yeah.
Wow. You're good. All poets have several words that come up over and over again. Words or sentences that they just can't help but use in their work. What are 3 of your absolute favorite words to use?
Todd is great, maybe. That's
okay. Did you say Todd is great?
No. Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty conceited, huh?
That is a good one. That's a good one.
I don't know. I think yes. I like the word yes a lot. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I use it as much, but I like it in real life.
All right.
Yeah, I think. God, I don't know. Broken. I bet you I use broken a lot.
Okay.
Broken or busted, and it would be nice if I used the word comfort more. That'd be nice. I don't know if I ever did, but it seems like a nice word. Besides the word peaches, I really like peaches, but I don't have any poems about peaches. So
okay,
I don't know. Night probably comes up a lot. Bar tabs, happy hours probably comes up a lot.
Okay.
But but those are just words, right? So it's ultimately, I think if you're looking for themes of my work, that I could answer better than what 3 words come up a lot.
All right. Well, share another piece of your work. Share another piece.
Oh, okay. I will share this one since you brought it up, and I do think that it's probably one of the best poems that I've ever written, honestly. So here's Rearview Mirror. It was the gleam off of his '57 Chevy, the way the sun hit the chrome like a halo encircling the entire car. That's what did it. That's what caught her eye. She was tired of her Studebaker life. She wanted to shine like that Chevy. She stole glances and turned the top button of her high school cardigan around and around, then tucked her hair behind her ears again and again. She could see herself checking her lipstick in the mirror, driving down the Pacific Coast Highway, listening to what would become their favorite songs. And now, after a half-century of love, under a blanket of constellations, and all those miles and moments underneath them, 3 children, grandkids, health scares, and hard times, she still gets excited when he washes the car, smiles and notices the way it shines, bright enough to make her reach for her lipstick and ask if he wants to go for a ride.
That's
that was
nice.
Actually written at thank you. That was actually for Roland and Diane after their 50th anniversary. They're one of my best friend's parents, and I don't know, so I wrote that.
All right. Very nice.
Yeah.
Now, when you write, is it primarily pen and paper, computer, notebooks? How do you write?
I always carry a notebook. Everything that I write begins in a little 3x4, 3x5 notebook or something, spiral notebook. I get them like at Walgreens for like 3 for $3 or something like that, and it makes it difficult around like birthdays or Christmas because people always want to give writers, oh, look, here's I'm going to give you a notebook. I'm going to give you a pen. And sometimes writers such as myself, you're like, well, I don't use this. Like, really, I just go to Walgreens, So that's how I get the initial words down. And I try to make myself available. Like I can't write in silence or at home. And so I have certain bars that I connect with. And for whatever reason, I'm just more productive there. And so sometimes I'll go and just sit. And I need that noise around me. I need background noise. I need to be able to listen in on other people's conversations and steal lines from what they say. And then, but yeah, that's mostly how I write. Yeah.
You've been writing since you were 15, or maybe a little younger.
Yeah.
Am I correct? Do you think you were meant to be a poet? Do you think you were meant to be a poet? Tell me more. Yeah.
Well, because I actually do believe that, the Lords of Karma just wanted some type of joke and play toy down here. So they said, there you go, Todd Cirillo, this is the way he's going to be. Otherwise, I'd rather be a musician or a photographer or something that makes some money from the art, And again, maybe that statement would get me in trouble in certain circles because people got to say, "Oh, I just do the art for art." No, you know what? Pay me for it. There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
so
it's not.
I think, there's not at all. Lou Welch wrote a brilliant essay called Mozart, something versus Mozart's watch. And it was all about that, where people would have Mozart come over and play for them. And then when he'd say, okay, give me some money, they'd say, oh, no, I can't, disrespect you with money. Here's a watch, all right. But, yeah, I think so. And don't get me wrong, I'm happy with it. I'm very pleased about it because I do think that poets are rare things.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that just like I don't believe that everybody's a writer, I don't believe that everybody's a poet just because you put some words down. Because I still have that romantic, almost way back to the Greeks, like that notion that the poet, is up there on Mount Olympus next to Zeus,
wow.
Or whoever else is up there. Sounds
well,
silly,
speaking of who else is up there, we've got another caller, and I'd like to bring this person in. All right?
All right.
All right.
All right. That's good.
All right. Area code 530. The first three numbers are 575. You're on the air.
Hey, Todd. How's it going, buddy?
Hey, really good. How are you?
Good, man. Good. I'm listening
Who is this?
to you. This is Nate out in California.
All right. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
I was actually calling
this is my
to,
yeah. This
I was actually
one of
calling
my
to talk
old
to the
running
ladies,
partners.
man.
Yeah. That's one of my greatest drinking buddies that I got.
All right. Very nice. Very nice. Welcome.
Uh-huh.
Do you have a question for Todd?
No, I actually just wanted to tell him that I really enjoy him and that I didn't know poetry could be fun and enjoyable until I heard him.
Oh, wow. That's very nice. Did you hear that, Todd? Did you hear that?
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, I hope it's recorded because I'm going to put it on my voicemail so I can hear it all the time. Man, Nate, hey, brother.
I'll call you
I
and
love
leave
you
a
and
voicemail.
Sweet D. Yeah.
I will leave you a
I love
voicemail
you
that
and
says
Sweet D.
that.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you calling in so much. And really, and I know that you're being honest about it, man. So let's get together as soon as we can.
All right. I'll keep listening. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you for calling in.
Brother. All right.
Nothing like a good friend. Nothing like a good friend.
Yeah. But see, there it is again. That's the ultimate compliment, right? If someone truly believes that your work, your poems are actually accessible, and says, I never got into poetry, but your stuff, yeah. That's who I want to give books to or sell books to.
Well, we have another caller. Wow, you're on a roll tonight. We've got another caller. All right.
All right.
Let's see. Let's bring this person in.
All right.
All right. Area code 310. The first three numbers are 463. You're on the air.
Hi, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
Lady.
It's a lady.
I'm well. It's a real lady, not a fake lady. Yeah. I have the stuff to prove it.
All right.
Yeah,
I can't show you the stuff because this is the radio, but you're going to have to trust me on that.
All right, and your name, your first name.
My name is Sierra Madre.
All right. You have a question for Todd.
I do. So, Todd, what do you think are some examples of things that come to mind when you think of real life, things that are poetry but not words?
Real life examples of something that I think is poetry but not words?
Mm-hmm.
I would think they're just something waiting to be put into word form, maybe. Swimming in my pool, heartbreak, You know, like we were saying earlier, that moment when you try to reach for someone's hand for the first time, I think that's poetry. I think that when someone gives you, offers you an open bar tab like a stranger, that could be poetry. But also, just those moments that, for whatever reason, they're so random that they just stay with you. And you never know; they can change the whole course, of your whole existence. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Parades, Mardi Gras parades, I think could be poetry, maybe. Yeah.
That's so broad.
Yeah, well, all right, if I get real specific, then maybe it's when someone first puts their head on your shoulder underneath a low light when Sam Cooke is playing in the middle of the night. Maybe it's that time when someone gets you your favorite coffee or something, and you didn't even ask them, but somehow they knew because they listened what you said 4 days ago, whatever your favorite dark roast was, and they get it for you. And sometimes it's just something as simple as when you're in the hospital and they pick you up, or you need a ride to the airport, and someone comes through for you. Maybe that's poetry.
So the Uber is poetry.
Yes, when they're not molesting people. Yes.
Right.
Maybe the Uber is maybe it's Uber poetry. That should be the name of my next book, maybe.
Uber poetry. Yeah, but you're right though. I mean, I'm sorry. Please continue.
No. I was just commenting. It's fine. The gesture, I get it. You're talking about the gesture, right, Todd?
For me, it's all in the gesture. Yeah. It could be because I'm so self-centered that's what I need, but for me, again, it comes down to that interpersonal connection.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
That sounds like some kind of English professor's question.
Yeah, I know. It totally sounds like something I would ask as a prompt. Huh?
That's a good question, though. It's a good question.
Thank you.
Thank you, caller.
Type of way.
Okay.
Yep.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, caller.
All right, baby. Thank you.
All right.
All right,
Todd. It's time for another poem, my friend. It's time for another.
Oh, all right. Okay. All right. What's in a name? She is on her way over, and she is late, just like always. It has been years since we've seen each other, and tonight we will drink and get to know one another all over again, who we are now. She used to be my, friend? Perhaps in some way, but we rarely hung out without purpose. Lover? That word always feels like it must be pronounced lover, like the SNL sketch where Will Ferrell gets Jimmy Fallon to laugh in the hot tub. Girlfriend? That one doesn't quite fit either because she never wanted me to be her boyfriend. Partner? Maybe. We did create together, but only memories and scars. Booty call? Definitely not. She asked for a bottle of rosé, so I bought a bottle of rosé from France. And it was about time for me to take it out of the fridge, open it up, get this reunion started. I set out 2 glasses and pour the drinks. She sends a text, cancels. I finish both drinks and see exactly who we are now. Oh, that was a little downer, right?
Yeah, it's all right, though. It's real life.
Oh, right.
As you think about poetry, what makes a poem good? What makes a poem good? As you stated, not everyone's a poet. So, just going on your own words, what makes a poem good?
I think one that is very clear, again, and very concise, and tells a story. Not just a collection of words, but it actually, someone that actually crafts a story so that, to me, the best poems never have to be understood. For instance, how many times when you go to a reading or you go to an open mic and the poet will sit there and explain to you what their poem is about, and the explanation is longer than their actual poem.
Well, that's true.
I believe poetry should not have to be explained. It should, a good poet should be able to put it out there, and that person can then take it with them and immediately, again, have that sort of connection or that understanding of what the emotion was, what the feeling was, what the colors were like. Maybe something like that. I think a good poem is.
Writers and poets write for a myriad of reasons. Some write primarily to speak a message to their audiences. Others write because to stay silent is not an option. Why do you write? And you've kind of talked about it, but why do you write?
Yeah, Mr. Michael, I got the feeling here you want to get me exiled from the poetic community.
Never. Never. Okay, maybe.
Yeah, that's all right. I bounce back very good.
Well, would you prefer to take a question? We've got another caller. Oh, my God. Did you pay these people? We've got
No. See? Now, this is that connection. So, obviously, I've touched, 4 people across the country. No charges filed yet. It's wonderful.
Well, let's take this call. It'll give you a little reprieve from answering that question. Okay, here we go.
Please. Yeah.
Okay. I think this is a new person. Good evening. This is area code 530. The first 3 numbers, are 210. You're on the air.
Hello, darling.
Oh.
This is Julie from California.
This is the famous Julie Valin, the poet. She's one of the greatest poets on the West Coast. She was just here in New Orleans for a Bukowski festival I co-produced. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hi, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for reading that wonderful poem about my wonderful parents that made me cry.
Oh.
It made me cry. It was beautiful.
Yeah, well, it runs in your family. Yeah. So.
It does.
Bunch of crybabies, crybaby Valin. Yeah.
Crybaby Valin. No, I actually have a serious question, though. I have a serious question. So, we lived here in California for many years, and yet you never talk about it. Or I noticed when I was in New Orleans and you introduced me, you would never say, "Oh, this is from my friend from California," or anything like that. So I was wondering what California means to you, like in how it shaped you as a poet, or if it just means shit, or I just want to know how important California was.
So in poetic Julie Valin terms, she was saying, "I'm putting my heart out, and you better tell me something good came out of California." So I will answer that because I think it's a beautiful question. So one of the, I guess, old questions that Michael used to ask was about the 3, what are the 3 best poems that you feel, that a poet feels, really is I don't know if it was their best work or whatever the actual wording of the question was, but one of those is a poem that I wrote called "Last Call, California," and it's a very rare poem for me, and it's about 8-9 pages long, and I rarely ever do that big of something, but it encapsulated my entire life from the moment I was 13 years old, and I said to my mom, I said, I'm going to go out to California. And she said, "I know you will." And it was, and so this poem, "Last Call, California," encapsulated everything from a 13-year-old boy all the way through all my adventures and all my mishaps that happened there. And so that poem, and the late Ann Menabroker, who is and remains really one of my heroes and my greatest friends. She died a few years back, and I sent her this poem, Last Call, California, and she wrote back and she said, "You've hit a home run with this one, honey," and I'll never forget that. And so I believe that one, as far as my California and my West Coast years, I don't know how I will top them. I don't know how I will top them other than, let me read this right quick. The last reading in the West. You were there at my last reading in the West. You bought me drinks and we sat very close, smiled, made fun of others, laughed and did shots. Neither one of us mentioned that it was my final reading, though each of us understood. While I was on stage, I could hear you laughing as I read the poems, and that made me laugh. You were my biggest fan, which in turn made me your biggest fan. That evening, the moon followed us. The bartenders gave us doubles for the price of singles, and all the words I wrote and said were an effort to make you proud of me. When I finished my poems, I walked back over to you, and we went the rest of the night without you ever knowing. That night was dedicated to you, just like this poem.
Okay.
There's a Kel.
Here
You
comes
crying,
Cry
baby?
Baby. Yeah, here comes Cry Baby.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good
my
question.
God.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
was very nice,
awesome.
my friend. It really was. Wow.
Thank you.
Julie, do you have another question for our friend, for our featured artist tonight?
I don't know, but you guys are doing a great job, and I love listening to you. So keep up the good work, both of you, and love you, mean it.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Love you, mean it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Well, let's take a brief break, Todd, and we'll be right back.
All right.
We are back. My name is Michael Anthony Ingram. I am here with the one and only Todd Cirillo. Todd is a publisher, a poet, a pirate, a man for all seasons. Being a publisher, tell me about some of your publishing activities, Todd. I know that you're editor of 6 Foot Swells Press.
Swells, yes, yeah. So I'm co-founder of it and editor. That's started out with Matt Amott and Julie Verlin, and it's just a press that if we can get out 2 books a year, then we're doing good. Sometimes we might skip a year or whatnot, but it's really putting that type of after-hours poetry, that type of poems out into the world that makes us want to buy a book or go to a show or buy the poet a drink or fall in love with the poet. And I love editing people's work. I do it all the time. I'm always getting manuscripts sent to me and poems, and I believe that creativity begets creativity. I really do. And so, it's just a magnificent. It started way back in like 2007. I think we probably got 14 books out, and it's allowed us to really, put out a product that stands out. When you'll notice a 6 Foot Swells book on the bookshelf, it'll stand out. Same with like Epic Rites Press. So yeah, just really being a publisher is, it's a whole nother beast. and in the books that I'm working on right now for it. It's magnificent. It's magnificent to be able, that I think that these poets, most of them, trust me so much that when you get the right editors, and I've got about 3 that I trust implicitly, who just sort of automatically, like, they almost know where you're going to step. So if you're walking down the street and there's a pothole, they're the ones who like grab your arm and pull you over to the right a little bit. It's awesome. Yeah. So it's just fun. It's just fun. Yeah.
All right. Well, share another piece of your work.
All right. So I have the most magnificent friends, and I've got the most magnificent best friends in the world. So yeah, this is for my number 1. Gifts. The son of a bitch left me broke and blacked out, with a stripper's name written in black Sharpie on my forearm, 3 bright orange traffic cones in my bedroom, and a 2-day hangover. He is the best friend ever. Yeah. Tobe. You want to hear another one about him?
Yes, I do.
All right. Tobe. This is an absolutely true story. It's 99% true. The luckiest night ever. When my best friend and I are together, we drink Pabst Blue Ribbon. We enjoy the PBR game tremendously, like kids playing kickball. The game goes like this. Under each bottle cap is a number and a suit, as in a deck of cards. The bartender twists the cap off and offers the drinker a chance to guess, with the prospect of winning a free Pabst Blue Ribbon. On this night, my best friend guessed the first bottle cap correctly, 8 of clubs, thus celebrating with a free Pabst Blue Ribbon. Upon guessing the prize-winning beer, he won again, 10 of hearts, 2 free Pabst Blue Ribbons. It was as good to us as winning the lottery. In fact, we made plans to buy lottery tickets later that night to keep this lucky streak rolling. It was a sure thing, we shouted and backslapped. The bartender told us she had never seen anyone guess 2 correctly. It was the luckiest night ever. After hours of trying to double our modest winnings, continuing to play the PBR game, we woke up hungover and broke, remembering we never got around to buying the lucky lotto ticket, but shrugged it off, feeling good enough to let someone else feel what it's like to be a winner. Yeah, that's that one.
Todd, question for you.
Uh-huh.
What do you want your poetry to do? And where do you want it to go? What do you want it to do?
I think we've seen that by people who would never be fans of poetry. They'd never want to go and order a book of poems. They'd never want to put one in their backpack.
Mm-hmm.
But they do, I mean, ultimately, what I'd really like it to be, it's only a search for connection for me, honestly. It's just that those amazing women that I've known in the past, that loved me unconditionally, that I fucked up. And it's just a chance to try to get back to them in some way, shape, or form. So it's just a connection.
All right.
So, yeah, that's basically it. When someone says that they really love it, that's it.
Well,
that's
as we close out the hour, we have time for one more piece. Please share.
Wow. This is now it's it all comes down to this, they say, right?
Yes.
Okay. In your absence, when you are not around, I pile the pillows up on your side of the bed to give weight and shape to your absence. But pillows do not steal all the blankets or grab my hand to hold it in the middle of dreaming, push me to the edge, wrap around my body, or wake me to say something gorgeous. I would rather you take the blankets and leave me cold than leave me alone. There you go. That's
wow.
Yeah.
I'm sure that when people hear your work, they usually want more. What's next for you as a poet?
Well, I got next month in October. I was invited to participate in Litquake in San Francisco, so I'll be reading out there October 19th, and then I'm also reading at the Beat Museum in San Francisco that Friday night, the night before. And then I have 2 books coming out by 2 different presses, and I think I'll put them out after the first of the year. I may even put them out on the same day, like so I can be the Axl Rose of poetry, you know, when Guns N' Roses released 2 albums on the same day.
Mm-hmm.
But that'll be happening after the first of the year, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for a phenomenal evening. You're a phenomenal man.
Thank you.
And
I appreciate you. Thank you.
I wish you nothing but the best. And to everyone out there, being a pirate is one of the best things that you can be. All right?
You're fantastic. You're a great host. I appreciate you having me, Michael. I really do.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, good night, everyone. Until next week, signing off. Good night.